And so, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to begin here this weekend with the CyberPower Cup. $15,000 on the line, 8 teams walking in, 1 team walks away with the cold, hard cash and bragging rights when it comes to this tournament. First off, we've got Misfits versus Denial. But before we get into the conversation around the game, let's talk about ourselves. I am Scrawny, and I am joined by the one, the only, Hugo Byron.
Thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah, I'm very excited. We have a couple of good games coming up tonight to start things off. Obviously, first being Misfits Denial. And yeah, some teams that, we haven't really seen a lot from, at least recently. I think Denial's kind of one of the ones we're expecting to have their issues in terms of just making recent roster changes post last season. And Misfits as well, who, talking about roster changes, they've had a couple of issues as well. I'm sure people have been keeping aware with the whole Peacemaker situation. Sean Gares going for that wedding and missing the minor. Shazam being kicked. A lot of drama here, but hopefully we'll have the full roster back and ready to play.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that there's a few teams this time around in the series of tournaments that might have a challenge ahead of them, and it's definitely safe to say that Denial are going to be one. Now, of course, Misfits is a team that we know for some international prowess. They did just bring in Amanek and Davidovic, and that is 2 players, of course, hailing from France. Speaking of France, we think back of their run at the DreamHack Tours event, where they actually created a bit of an upset and made some waves for themselves, which was great to watch. But then, as you just alluded to, Hugo, the whole roster fiasco with their North American tournament run. However, that's now come to an end. I believe Shazam is back. According to the Wikipedia page for Misfits, he has returned, and we will not be seeing the stand-in of ZQK. I'm actually really happy for that, personally. Because I think that Shazam's opping at Tours was just so on point. There was so many multi-frags and so many impactful moments that he himself put forth. I was pretty disheartened, actually, to see the kind of quarrel going on within that roster that saw him benched. So welcome back, Shazam. And I'm looking forward to seeing him play here because I think that he is, of these both teams, the only real op presence in game. And I think that as we kind of discuss the matchup between Misfits and Denial, that's certainly going to shine to the top. But right now, we're still waiting for the veto phase to come to a close. We see that, of course, Denial takes out Mirage, and well, Misfits take their time.
Yeah, and I'd like to talk to you a little bit, obviously, as the NA brain here on the side of Denial. So, for those unaware, Fates, Maxi, the Estonian and Swedish player respectively, as well as Anger, all departed the roster recently. The 2 EU guys going back to their home countries, and Anger making his way into Mythic. So, in terms of replacements at the moment, it seems that they're playing with Toy, Rico, and Dapper. Thoughts, at least, on these players, not only individually, but also how they would fit into the team? Do you think this is an upgrade for Denial?
So Denial's a team that throughout Premier seasons now, the last 3 seasons, they always kind of shuffle around the core of the team. The core having been XP3, Flowsick, and Anger. Now, of course, we know that Anger moves to Mythic, so he's just straight out of the equation. As for newcomers, I think it's safe to say that Toy and Dapper are being brought in as the predominant firepower for this season, a direct reflection of what Maxi and Fates were supposed to be. I think that both of those 2 players are doing a fantastic job. Denial currently in the ESEA Premier Division are 3-1, and if you look at the statistics from the team, it's really been Dapper leading the charge, holding near 100 ADR, which would put him top 10 in the entire division. So he's doing a great job at his job. Rico, however, I feel is kind of like the newest addition. Like he was kind of like the last ditch effort to replace Anger, who maybe was more unexpected of a departure. And I think that he still has something to prove. But as far as Dapper and Toy, they're hitting shots, they're making impact, and they've started Denial off on the front foot as far as Premier is concerned. So I think that the team itself is looking pretty good, and that it's all starting to kind of come around the core of XP3 and Flowsick, of course.
Yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how they perform. Obviously, I feel like you need to give them time to maybe develop somewhat as a team, because obviously having a fairly fresh-faced roster is always going to be difficult to start things off. But yeah, I mean, talking about their side of the bracket at least, I guess they got a kind of what I would argue is the easier side. Ghost and Luminosity also being up for contention in the next part of the bracket, whichever team makes it through, and that will be our second match of the night. Oh, sorry, third match of the night as well. Ghost, Luminosity. But obviously, looking at the top part of the bracket, we've got a teams like Optic, Complexity, Splice. Splice maybe a little more on the downside, considering they are much like Denial, prone to roster changes every now and then. But yeah, we've got some very interesting teams. I'm excited to see how they continue throughout this event. I feel like personally, you've got to look to both Misfits and Optic to be the 2 kind of expected grand finalists, at least of this of this event, especially considering the way the brackets formed. They will be meeting in the grand final if they make it through both their games. Would you agree with me on that at least?
I think that Optic is a surefire bet at this point. And just based on the bracket, yeah, I think Misfits could certainly be there with them. I actually have a little bit more faith in Splice than I think you would. Sure, they're kind of prone to their recent roster changes and whatever not, but it's actually a team that's kind of going into their pro league now. They're currently in their prep phase for the next season of pro league. Finally, they break back out of Prem, and they get that organization in line. So I think that's maybe another question mark for me. Bringing this back to Denial versus Misfits, though, Hugo, Nuke is a very interesting choice because Nuke was the first map that we played at ESEA Premier, and they picked up two very close games for their Nuke play. They actually ended up losing to French Canadians, who I have as a top 8 in the division, in the overtime loss of 1916, and then a win over Guerrilla Tactics, which features the infamous Hades of 1614. So that's a map that I saw Denial struggle with versus other premier level teams, let alone Misfits, a team that I think is very formidable on that map, and maybe even more formidable on Train. Because again, I was alluding to Shazam and Shazam's op presence. The one thing Denial kind of lacks in form of firepower might be the op presence. It's XP3 who's currently opping as far as I'm aware, and he also takes the responsibility of in-game leadership. So he is the kind of opper who on the CT side can post up on angles and can very solidly hold his own, but at the same time, he's not the aggressive T-side peeker that you'd have from Shazam. So I think that's going to be a key factor, and that these maps play into it. Shazam on the outer yard of Nuke, Shazam on the outer bomb site of Train. He's my man to watch, and these are two maps that play into his strengths. So with Cobble also being on the table, a map that Misfits are, or more importantly, Sean Gares is known to be able to properly call on, and one that Shazam frags off of, this map pool has Misfits written all over it.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not really much I can kind of say to support Denial in that sense, but at least in my predictions, I'm going to go with Misfits. I imagine, especially after what you just said, you're going to agree with me, especially now that map veto's come in. It does look like it favors those guys. So what are you thinking? This is going to be over in 2 maps? Do you think Denial can string it out and bring on a third, or do you think it's going to just end before we even see Cobble?
I mean, Nuke to me is going to be the big question mark. If Denial are going to pick any of these maps or pick up a win on them, I think it will be on Nuke, and that it has to be because Train should very easily go to Misfits, in my opinion. But I think there's also an argument to be made that these 3 maps are kind of home territory in certain regards to Denial. I don't expect them to put up much of a contention, but they should at least have the core understanding of proper rotation timings and whatever not, because these are 3 maps that I would argue are in their regular map pool. They kind of steer away from maps like Cache and Mirage, and so there's this overlying and combined map pool between these 2 lineups. But I think you just have to look at the overall standard of the teams. I mean, we're comparing Misfits to Denial, a premier team that, while it has experience and it has capability and it has this understanding of CS, it doesn't necessarily have the ability to compete on an international level like Misfits. I mean, I think it's just fair to say Misfits are favored. These maps keep them favored, but I have high hopes for Denial because they're a top contender for Premier, and I think that they could maybe get into EPL, kind of like what Ghost are, just the bottom of the fishbowl for the Pro League.
Yeah, and I mean, again, at the end of the day, Misfits, it's really hard to justify a win for Denial coming into this one, but you've got to say they did get pretty much the hardest matchup that they could have in their bracket, it seems. Luminosity and Ghost, obviously very good teams still, but I mean, I would have liked to see maybe a Denial Ghost first game than Luminosity Misfits. I think that would have been far more interesting in the sense that maybe that wouldn't have been as much of a stomp on either end of the bracket. But going back to the bracket itself, you mentioned that you had a little hope for Splice, and I wouldn't count them out, but I just feel like being on the same stage as Optic, it's going to be very, very difficult to make their way through even past the second match there. So yeah, I think I'm going to agree with you. I think this should be a done deal. I can expect 2 maps to just go the way of Misfits at the end of the day. It's hard to compare teams, as you said, that are, you know, one in the Premier level and one just way above. So I'm not expecting too much, but I guess this is kind of a proving ground, right? This is a chance for Denial to show what they're made of, and you know, maybe get an upset of even a map or maybe even the series. Who really knows? It is online CS at the end of the day, so anything can happen. But yeah, at the end of the day, I really don't think that too much is going to go unexpected into the series.
If you guys think you can do a better job of proving yourself when it comes to predictions, this is a cool little thing we've got lined up this weekend. If you guys head over to cyberpowerpc.cevo.com/predictions, you can enter in a chance to win the 3 prizes on screen. So this is a bit of interaction for you viewers at home, for the loyal viewers that are here for the NACS this weekend. Lots of CyberPower jerseys to give away. Of course, we've got RGB keyboards and mouse pads and all that good stuff. So head on over. It gives you guys something to do while we do still ready up this last game, or first game rather. Last. I'm getting ahead of myself, Hugo.
Speeding up really, really fast. You want this to be over already. You expecting this just to be a stop. You're already calling it. But no, hopefully we should be going in just a second. All of Misfits are here, and most of Denial as well. So yeah, not too long, I can imagine. But obviously, yeah, first nap being Nuke, as I expected. I'm really running out of things to say here. You're kind of the NA brain in this reach. I don't really watch or cast much of teams like Denial and that kind of ESEA Premier Division. So I feel like we're gonna have to kind of get into the game before I have much else to say.
I'm just trying to think of what else would be worth mentioning. I mean, I'm kind of the big advocate for Shazam here, so that's one of the things we should be looking out for moving in. We could talk about just the general trend of Misfits as well, the kind of shakeup there with Peacemaker. That's the kind of little event that can actually add a layer of turmoil and kind of set teams back from the results that they were obtaining. I mean, for Misfits to head over to Tours and to have such an impactful LAN presence, just to come back to NA and then flub out in multiple events, right? Like if we look over at their results as of late, we see that they go out 7th and 8th at the America's Minor Championship, 0-2 score to Pain Gaming. Now, of course, that's when they have Peacemaker and their stand-ins and they're missing Sean Gares, so that's what's to be expected. But those are very crucial tournaments, very important events that they kind of just lose themselves within because they're not able to compete with that full lineup. This is the first tournament that we've seen them back into their same roster from Tours, which makes us want to expect something great. But at the same time, it's recent. There was just a whole other lineup, a whole other system in place with whole other players, and now we're just expecting these players to be able to jump back to that Tours lineup and act as if no harm was done. How much of a degree of importance do you put on that shakeup, Hugo?
I mean, there's one thing before you touch on that. I think you have to talk about the actual, success they had at Tours. A lot of people were kind of putting that down to, of course, them being a local French crowd and Amanek and Devin Duvet going off, especially because of that. I'm sure it's very motivating to be French players playing in France up against some of these teams. So I feel like that's something you got to take into account. Maybe their success there was a little more to do with external factors rather than the team just being great. Obviously, I don't want to put down their win or wins there at all, at least. But I feel like you've got to expect some of that to promote a bit of a boost in the sense of Misfits doing better than those would expect. But yeah, I feel like coming into this, it's probably just going to be back to Old Faithful, at least online. It will be interesting to see how the situation develops in the sense of how long Peacemaker is going to stay related to this roster. It was announced that he was at least taking a little bit of a step back in terms of moving into a more analyst role, I think, but he's still staying with the organization. So I'm interested to see how that kind of develops, whether Misfits are still going to have the same success that we have seen them do before on a Premier LAN, and if they continue to be a strong team or start to improve in the NA region. I'm quite worried if the whole drama that's been going on with the whole Shazam removal or temporarily removal will upset the team and change their focus, of course, because they were starting to look really, really promising, and I really hope they do continue, because it's not often that we have many NA teams that can compete with top EU contenders.
That is true. Unfortunately true, I would argue. Although currently right now...
You think that's unfortunate, okay? You're not from the UK, Scrawny. You don't have to deal with the pain that we have. We have Smooya, and that's about it.
Moving on, Epsilon, who's been doing quite well, actually.
Very well. Very, very well. I'm excited to see how that continues. Our only other two UK players, well, I guess three if you count Alex on LDLC, but he's basically French. Our only other two UK players are Depth and Surreal, who are also playing this tournament as well on the side of Complexity. But I mean, they really haven't been stepping up to what many people thought they could achieve. I thought they were a bit of a random pickup in the first place for Complexity, but yeah, nothing out of the ordinary has really gone their way, it seems.
Ten players in, 9 ready. There's always one, Hugo. There's always one.
XP3, what can you say? The one European here.
What are you talking about?
Isn't he French?
Aren't Devaduvic and Amanek?
Oh yeah, I meant on Denial. You know what I meant.
I feel like he's also been in North America for long enough that he hangs on to that French heritage. But at the same time, he's ours now. I'm claiming him for one of us, Hugo.
Okay, you can have him, dude. I'm not missing him there.
Are you ready, Hugo? Because the
I'm
pistol
ready.
is about to go live. It's Denial Esports on the T side of Nuke versus Misfits to start us off here at the CyberPower Cup this weekend.
Ooh, very exciting stuff. And yep, we're going to be jumping right into the fist round here. Misfits CT side and our T side. Let's see what this new-ish roster has to show for us coming into their terrorist half. We've got one set of utility on Flowsick, everyone else going to be armored up. Sean Gares with a very default buy, Kit HE, Denial setting up fast towards ramp, ready to burst out with the help of this utility.
I like that Sean Garris has a frag grenade as opposed to a smoke, trying to dwindle down an offense if it were to come barreling forward. But Denial opt to go out towards ramp, and they find zero resistance here, so they're certainly going to take this portion of the map by storm. Amanek trying to play from within the vents, and he hits a headshot as the fire pops. That's going to push him back, but now Devaduvic trying to stop the plant as XP3 gets aggressive, takes one, whips back, but loses his head. Food with another frag, and the 3-on-3 after plant ensues.
DT's coming in hot though. Toy will be able to defend onto Shazam, and this split coming out through vents is going to be very dangerous, but Toy gets aggressive, pushing into the back door, drops sick, and that leaves Sean Gares to push out solo. He's got such little HP, no armor to work with, and the flank from vents already coming out. There's nothing he can do. Toy goes big, picks up 3 kills, and the round will be gained by Denial. Clean stuff there. Obviously, Misfits playing a little passive on that ramp area instead, just having Amanek sitting in towards vents on B, and I like the style of giving away the control. The only issue there is if Denial tried to reconvene and split towards Heaven, they would have had easy access to make their way into that A site. So Misfits playing it, maybe some would argue, a bit too passively. But now the force buy comes out here for the CT side. Denial with a very mixed buy, 3 different types. Actually, every gun is different. Only 2 rifles, but they're going to be going for a fast burst play to split things up.
Toy's keeping his eye over towards Mini as Rico finds the opener. 2 CTs in there now down, with Sean only finding 1. So Shazam sits on 20 points of health. The bomb's been planted. Denial do a good job of just aggressing into the A site and asserting themselves through weaponry. However, Misfits have softened them up ever so slightly as Flowsick sits on 46. And Shazam's got that dirty Deeg coming out towards the outer yard, exactly where Flowsick stands. So there's still the opportunity of a couple extra kills on the exit here. Denial wanting to minimize those losses, especially since the players still hang on to utility and guns. But as the time continues to tick, they start to retreat back through lobby and towards their spawn.
One gun grab. I mean, that's good enough, right, for the side of Misfits. They don't need too much here on the CT side. They're going to have another eco coming in anyway. And for Amanek just to burst up vents, get himself a gun and hold on to it, that's impressive. So he can throw that over to someone like Shazam with armor, swap that out, give him the Deagle in replacement. But he's actually going to hold on to it himself. I mean, he has the money to buy up a bit of armor alongside it, but it wouldn't really be too wise coming into this. Save that money. No, he's going to go for it anyway. Doesn't really matter. I don't think we're going to see too much from Misfits coming into this round. Denial looking clean to assert their dominance in the first half of this T side and round it out with 3 after the 2 anti ecos. But it's a bit of a more outside-based round as Denial push Toy straight towards that garage. He has the support of Flowsick as well, and he's going to be spotted. That one rifle on the side of Misfits not going to be having too much of an issue in dispatching of the first player. But other than that, Denial should be okay to close out the round.
A lot of pressure on Amanek this round, and there is still XP3 towards outers, so if he catches that player, suddenly 2 guns down, Denial to the 3 versus 5, things could get shaky. But Denial going to opt back to push out towards ramp. And again, we see a setup from Misfits that has nobody even watching it. There's not even a passive hold coming in from Hell or anything along those lines. Complete back turned. And this is going to cost them, possibly, as Food's starting to push in for Hell. He gets caught, though. That's Shazam with a headshot, and that's a great little opener. It is just 3 players still up from Denial. Make it 2. Excuse me. Responded with 1 as Rico hits the headshot.
Now they can make their own to heaven. They could split onto this A site quite easily here, especially with the position of XP3. He can make his way through vents, but he gets spotted. Doesn't matter. Takes down Devin Devek. The solo player on the A site is going to be taken down. And actually, Six still hiding in the back corner. He's doing damage. Eventually going to be dropped. And now it leaves it all to Amanek in a 1v2. He's going to have the surprise of getting himself up vents pretty fast, but it's still going to be difficult. They know exactly where he is. Takes the first kill, damage onto XP3, and fakes the door opening as well. Rico doesn't know exactly where he is, but he shoots and gives away his position. Takes that second fight, damage done, but Rico will repeak, and he gets away with it. Very, very close. Denial bring it down to the 1v1 after having really nothing to fight up against. Misfits had 1 rifle and a couple of upgraded pistols with some armor. Nothing to be worried about, but they make it close. And that will give them a lot of money now to buy up on the CT side. After getting 4 kills, they're going to have a little bit more of a bank to pad this investment.
Starting to get worried for Denial here. It's versus near unarmored and unarmed opponents, and yet they sustain such losses. Now, they do get the 3-0 start, so we can't criticize all too hard, and a nice wall of smokes towards outer as well. They're at least well poised and prepared for this map, but can they convert that into the opening gun round? I mean, Misfits coming into this one with only 1 kit, lackluster utility, although they've held on to what they bought. It's Devin Duvik watching Mini and reading the outer push that opens things up. Sick with another frag, but it's Toy and Rico with 2, Shazam with 1 as he tries to rotate over. XP3 will seal the deal, and the 2v2 remains. Denial slow things down.
Look at Amanek, he's found his way in heaven. He's going to drop onto the site. Bit of noise being made, but he has the upper hand, and he'll jump in with the aggression from Sean Gers timed well and made. Misfits split onto those remaining 2 players, and they make it perfectly to deny any more damage done by Denial. No bomb plant as well, and that's something very important. Usually in a 2v2 like that, you would wait to see the CTs wait until the bomb's been planted. Once they hear that sound, they push in knowing that one player has no gun in their hand. But Misfits, they get aggressive, they catch off Denial before they're aware of it, and they take the round by storm. So a first by going on the board here for the CTs, and Denial, after losing 4 players in the previous anti-eco, they're not going to be able to reinvest. It's just pistols once again.
This buy from Denial, clearly a product of their struggles in the opening 3, but Flosic hits the Deagle shot, so that's a 5 versus 4 right away. Devo Dubik down. Amanek aspires to hold on to the ramp. He gets wild with the spray, finds one, and falls back. So he'll have time to reload and actually get to cover as Sean comes to bail him out. Again, frags being found for Misfits. Only sits on XP3. And he doesn't last long. Denial Esports try to take ramp, and in the end, Misfits find the second.
Now the buy comes through once again here for the T's. No AWP has been seen in play yet on either team now. Just 4 rifles will be coming out once again to continue that trend. Utility, not too bad here for Denial as well. They've all got a smoke. They've all got a chance to go for this setup play if they want to go for that outside take, or maybe just a smoke take through the roof. But instead they focus mainly towards lobby very early on. We have Flosic opening that squeaky door there just to give them a bit of a leverage chance to try and get a pick onto that A site. Nothing will present itself. Misfits, they're not going to fall for these silly games. They know that that door's broken open. They know they should be playing passive towards main. No need to take that fight early on. Give Denial the opportunity for an early pick. Instead, they hold their ground. Wait for Denial to use up any utility they want to go for some kind of execute. But Amanek spraying into the smoke on ramp is going to remove Food from the equation straight away. And that puts Misfits in a 5-on-4 with little to no refrag potential for Denial.
Now in the 4th rifle round, we saw Denial get a couple of opening frags, and then the 2v2 clutch just get cleaned up by Misfits. To be fighting off of a 4 versus 5 is not a good look for them, especially considering that last round, which was just so easily swept away. Denial down with utility as well. Single smoke, 1 molly, 2 flash, but Toy hits the headshot onto Shazam, so that's a crucial frag now. Back to the 4v4s, Denial sneak their way through lower. Sean Gare's standing in position here, but with a Molotov, he burns them off and falls. Doesn't want to fight just as of yet. Instead, he buys time for the rotation, but nobody else really coming to join him here. Sick and Amanek still over towards A. Sean Gares gets confirmation on the cross, so now he needs to call for reinforcements.
Here's Flowsick. Look at this. He's just holding off rotations. He's not allowing them to get down the vents. Toy, in the meantime, does take down Sean Gares with only a few seconds left. A bomb plant is necessary. No one's going for it, I don't think. Have they even got time? What? No one plants the bomb. They get site control with plenty of time remaining, but Misfits pushing through. Sick takes control of the bomb back here for the CT side, and they completely deny, well, Denial any chance of getting that round. That's ridiculous. There's no way Denial should be playing so sloppily. They managed to cross 3 players down towards that lower door after Sean Gares gets mollied off in secret. They should instantly be going for that plant straight away. No worry about rotations, and especially with the position of Flowsick holding off rotations down through vents, they really had no excuse to let that round go astray, but either way, Misfits will get it themselves, and Denial pistols out again, this time even less to play with. 2 Glocks are equipped. Toy still holding onto his AK from the previous round, negating the loss bonus. But even so, what a weird way to go down for Denial.
Jitters, maybe. Either way, Toy will find the kill to Shazam again. So that's twice now Shazam has been shut out by the rifle versus his op. Not hanging on to the outer yard, as I had expected to. But Sean Gare's able to at least find one here for Misfits. 4 versus 4 is what we are back onto. Again, that's 2 primaries in the hands of Denial, with XP3 having retrieved an op. He's, of course, just scuttling around the blue box. Rico with a Deeg finds Sick, and there's the flick from XP3. 4 versus 2 out of nowhere. Misfits might be forfeiting the round, but Devaduvic comes in with a breath of life as Flowsick tries to trade. That's damage dealt. Devaduvic gonna get pinned in and killed as Denial find a freebie.
Those are the rounds you should never be throwing away on the CT side. You should never be letting Denial get control of that with just a single Catalyst rifle, 1 armored Deagle player, and everyone else on Glocks or PT-50s. Why would you throw away that round? Misfits just completely allowed Denial to exploit them. Not being aware of that cat control as well was a real issue. It allowed, I think it was Rico, to get aggressive, push into heaven, get that kill, and get himself a rifle to play with. So, yeah, great play from Denial, obviously, but sloppy mistakes from Misfits here with their outside control. And now we see money a little more limited coming up from CT side. 2 UMPs, 1 Deagle on Sean Gares with no utility on him, or Shazam, and no kit for that matter either, which I'm definitely not a fan of. Misfits are going to have troubles if Denial get themselves a bomb plant, and that's very possible, but they negate the lack of weaponry by getting aggressive, and Sick pushes into the hut very, very early on to catch out Flowsick and leave Misfits with a man advantage.
So far from Misfits, we've seen a lot of passive yard control. They're just relying on Shazam to op back and then also put the rotator towards Hell. I mean, Shazam is here yet again, this time with the M4, so no clashing over towards Red Box, but it does still allow Shaz to find Rico. Food's going to be able to find 1 frag, but it's Devaduvic and Shazam locking out the outer yard. Just down to Food, who comes up empty-handed. Devaduvic really stepping up that round, gets a 2-piece. Shazam as well with a 2K of his own, and we are all tied back up at 4 rounds each. However, Denial, lackluster cash flow. Thanks to the potential reset here on the table, Denial still survive with enough cash to buy. If they choose, they'll have a couple weapons. They could also just go to the techs here, I suppose, with some Kevlar, but this leaves players, some with no cash, others 3.4, 2.3. Really kind of sporadically spreading their cash flow.
I don't want to put you on the spot here, but would you know if Food is Dapper or if Food is another player? Because
oh Christ, I didn't even notice. You're right. They're not playing with Dapper.
Is Food a player?
Food's another Prem player.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering. Yeah, that was confusing to me. I wasn't sure if he was just using a different nick or if Food was a guy, because I've not heard of anyone called Food, but. Fair enough, that's interesting. Maybe just a stand-in, maybe a replacement permanently, who knows? Let's see how he performs. Denial getting ready to go for that smoke take over the A site, and the rest of them to just jump in through this hut and squeaky area. Waiting to see if Misfits will bring any heat. We've seen a bit of aggression from some of these CTs in the hut before. And Denial don't want to be throwing over that man advantage early on. If they get potential to get a pick, if Misfits get aggressive, they should be taking advantage of that. But the Molotovs will start to rain in on Cat, just to make sure that no one from Misfits is fighting up close. And as a result, Denial aren't even going to commit to A. They actually fake it out and push fast into the trap. That's where Shazam is hiding. Misses the first shot, and Toy will exploit it, taking the kill and leaving Amanek to solo defend B.
Flowsick and Rico with Tech 9s, though, they take 2 more kills here. Misfits getting outgunned. Although they have the weaponry, Amanek gonna open up Toxic Door, sprays down 2, sees the 3rd as well, and Rico. Bomb down on the ground, but Rico with another frag and makes it a double. Big plays from Rico. 3 frags on the round, only 20 health left over. You think, of course, that 2 of those kills comes off the Tech 9s, and that's another round that Denial win when they have no business taking it. 2 rounds, actually, both the 7th and 9th, and that actually forces Misfits to get hard reset amongst it. Back and forth we've gone for these last 4 rounds. Misfits on the pistols, just going to be curbing their economy so that they can buy in with the next. But this is a bit of a shakeup here from the T side of Denial.
I mean, these 2 rounds that they've won out of the last 6 have been ecos or random upsets, rounds they shouldn't be winning. So it just shows that Misfits are playing their anti-ecos or anti-force buys fairly sloppily. We had that 1 round with Toy on the rifle and everyone else on Glocks, and then we had that other one with a force buy. So yeah, it seems like Misfits clearly need to work out what's going on, but this time they are going to be making waves. Amanek again, he seems to be the man to always step up for the CT side on this map. He's going to open things up. Sick comes in for support as well. They almost kill each other, but it's okay. And Denial, they're putting pressure on B, but they know there are 2 players waiting in the wings, and with the double rotation coming through ramp, this is going to be made even more dangerous. But not with Food there, he shuts down 2. No anti-eco losses here for Denial this time. It's all onto Amanek, who does cause a little more damage by picking up another couple of kills and a 3rd. That's a 4th in the round, but Toy will take him down. That was scary close. It seems like no one knows how to play against pistols in this game.
My god, that was a filthy 4K with the CZ. Especially considering he had so few shots left to deny that plant. So here we go. We're back into the guns from Misfits. They've got the M4s. They've got an UMP. And it's AKs for Denial. So 0 op presence in this one. Just grenades and rifles aplenty. Now, Amanek has 17 frags already. So you're right in saying, Hugo, that thus far he's been a crucial component of the defense. But Flowsick finds the headshot to Sick. And that makes things interesting. Again, Misfits to the 4 versus 5. Denial putting up quite the fight. Even in a gun round, not only the upsets. So it's not the anti-eco play of Misfits, it's just their defense in general.
Sick not expecting that in the slightest. It's interesting to see Denial getting all this damage done without the ability of having an AWP. Not only did you mention that XP3 being that AWP may be lacking in firepower in comparison to Shazam, but they've not really had money to pick up that AWP. They've not been able to sustain multiple rounds in a row since that pistol and the 2 subsequent anti-ecos, so that money's been pretty limited. But this time, they're looking good to actually pick up a bit of a streak as they charge A. The last 2 players are on this site, though, and they need to be aware. 1 comes in for Rico, but in the return is 2 from the CT side. Amanek follows up as well, making this one difficult, and he will close it. The man of the hour, 19 and 6 on that scoreboard, just dominating this series so far for Misfits, despite the close scoreline. And it seems that Denial got themselves in a really awkward spot, a 4-on-2, walking into the site full of enemy players and not being able to trade effectively as well is the reason they just fall short. And now, just when you think it's going well here for the T side, they're back down to pistols once again.
Honestly, Denial have been opening up rounds quite well. I mean, we think of the first gun round where they get the 2 versus 2 towards the A site, and even that most recent one just now. But it's getting to the sites themselves that they struggle, whether that be forgetting to plant bombs or just getting those last closing kills. Either way, this round the Tech 9's find 2, but it is just down to Rico and Flowsick. Rico gets removed from the vents, and that's Flowsick now with an armor, the M4, but no bomb to play off of. He could certainly still win this, though, as Sean Gares has 3 points of health, Shazam's lit to half, and Devadovic the only full bar of health that remains. Flowsick going to play the long con, head back out towards the outer yard. I mean, he's giving himself a good opportunity to win 1 versus 1s, especially since Shaz is mid-rotation right here. He's very in the open, but he makes it to Mini just in time. So now at this point, it should be all 3 players for Misfits just tucking themselves into corners on the A site and controlling that bomb. You've got Sean Gares up in heaven really spotting from afar, and Shazam's waiting here. The crosshair placed, and the crosshair connects. Shazam finds it, and Flowsick's down.
I was getting really worried there, especially with Shazam sitting outside and taking a while to rotate back into that site, that we could be seeing a 1v1 just coming through. That's what you shouldn't be doing in situations like that, especially when economy has been a bit of a holdback for Misfits and Denial in this matchup. No point losing a player in a 3v1 when you could just close it out with effective trading. So Misfits, hold strong, make themselves to 6 rounds, keep this game as equal as ever. But Denial, again, money back in. The thing is, it's been weak on both sides. We've only seen a couple of ore purchases from Misfits this whole half, and Denial, not even once. So, hoping to see maybe this still stable out a little bit in the remainder of this half, and maybe going into the second one as well. But the lack of AWP could be holding back Denial to some extent. Obviously difficult to out-AWP Shazam, especially when it comes to online play, but either way, let's see what they do. So fast play A is going to be a drop-down bench from 2 players on the T side. Sean Gares opening up the round with first blood and second as well, denying any kind of presence coming out here from the T side towards Yard. Denial in the meantime have made 2 players down secret, but I think that Misfits are going to have a bit of an idea what's going on. XP3 is holding rotations, Food takes 1 on the Yard, and now the jig is up. Misfits should be knowing exactly what's happening, and they will be shutting them down bit by bit.
Rico still has Amanek pinned, but he's going to have to give up his angle. He needs to play more with XP3, who is rotating that bomb downwards, but Amanek doing a very good job of just keeping the terrorists back, and he buys his time long enough to find the headshot. Rico's down, and as is XP3. Amanek, yet again, rock solid defense here towards the B site. Picks up 3 frags in that one. And this keeps them ahead of things, as it is going to be Denial again struggling economically. So they just need to take this round on the chin, try to find a bomb plant if they're lucky to ensure a nice full buy in the final round, which will be coming up next. Misfits to assert themselves, I certainly hope, but we have seen them, Hugo, struggle anti-eco.
I was about to say, let's see how much damage Denial can do. I don't really want to count them out into this round until I see what they show. The issue is Glocks are going to be held back, but the only Glock of the team has already been removed as Sean Gares sprays into the smoke and the rest of Denial charge out through ramp. We've got a few Tech 9s and PT50s to worry about, but Amanek has no issue with dispatch. 2 for him, make it 3, going for the 4th. He wants the highlight reel as he chases down Toy, but it's Shazam to rotate in through heaven to catch him out. Misfits close out an 8th round in a row, or not in a row, on the half. Now we move into the final one. Denial with the money this time.
So, how do you prepare for something like this? 25-7 from Amanek, and we are not even 15 rounds deep. That's near 2.0 KPR, which is incredible.
There's nothing you can do when a player's going off like that. I feel like confidence is so much of CS. Once you start to get on a roll like that and you have a good couple of early rounds, it's very common to see one individual player just swing and go massively. And that is exactly what Amanek is doing. And he shall continue it. Another one into main. XP3 tries to sneak his way in. But with the support of Sean Gares, it doesn't look like Denial are going to be too happy about this round. Amanek and Sean Gares combine, and economical damage is not an issue. Despite Flowsick picking up 2 more kills, Misfits should still be poised to win this round. The bomb is down in main. Flowsick's position is going to be gathered by Misfits, and now we just see whether he can out-mind game and outplay these 2 remaining CTs.
Flowsick starts to creep around the corner. This does give him the chance to duel versus Amanek, but of course, he gets the better of him. I have to say, Amanek's positioning throughout the entirety of that half was incredible. You can see that Sean Gares is currently giving him a lot of space on that defense. We saw him playing over towards ramp, and then here in the 15th, he just randomly switches towards outer garage, a position we hadn't seen before. Sure, he's floating between A main and mini at multiple times as well, and that just goes to show. I mean, he's doing whatever he wants on that CT side, and you don't get to do something like that without the support or the backing of your in-game leaders. So Sean seeing, of course, the individual play of Amanek right now, how do you argue against it? You just let somebody who's feeling the game right now just do whatever he wants, and that's the kind of results you get. 28 frags over the course of 15 rounds.
And look at the scoreboard, the little stats that you can see on your screen. He was the only player in the whole team to pick up even a 3K or a 4K. But not only that, he picked up 3 3Ks and 2 4Ks. That's a lot of damage done by Amanek. And it just shows that, out of all the rounds they won, out of the 9 rounds they picked up, 5 of them were down to Amanek either picking up 3 or 4 kills. That's so much impact from the French player. It's exciting to see that over on the CT side. And that's the thing as well. Typically, you'll see one player on that T side go absolutely massive, and then moving over to the CT side, they can't do as much, right? Because it just depends where the enemies push. It depends where enemies bring the fight. And if you're left retaking every single round, maybe you can't pick up as much damage. But that was on the first half. Moving over to the terrorist side, if Amanak can continue this form and just be put first into sights to try and get his phenomenal aim, some entries here for the side of Misfits, we could be seeing this just turn into a massive landslide against Denial's favor.
Crazy to think as well, if you look at the amounts of clutches here on the scoreboard, 2 1vXs thanks to Toy and Rico. Considering that Denial win the pistol round, they convert it with difficulty and then only pick up 3 gun rounds, 2 of which are clutches and 2 of which are ecos. There is no consistency here from the T side of Denial. They themselves flub the round where they're not actually able to plant, and then at the same time kind of struggle rounds away from Misfits when they had no business winning. So Misfits make mistakes, Denial does the same, and those 2 mistakes come in the form of clutch rounds. Unfortunately for Denial, they need to find a response to Amanek unless he cools off himself. And even if he doesn't cool off, I still feel like Misfits have asserted themselves. It was a good half from Denial as far as score is concerned, but if you look at the way that those rounds play out, there was not really anything convincing.
Yeah, they only won 1 rifle round the entire half, right? Because they picked up the pistol, the 2 anti-ecos, those 2 eco rounds that they just won out of nothing, and then 1 rifle round. So realistically, yes, a scoreline's good, and a scoreline is a scoreline. Doesn't matter how you get the win as long as you get it, in my opinion. It's worrying for Denial that they couldn't get that much done when they really needed to. The rounds that they should have just accepted as a loss, they actually picked up. So let's see how they continue on the CT side. We'll be jumping back in. I like the score from Denial, but I've not got a whole lot of confidence coming into the second half. I can't imagine they're going to be able to get this one out with a win. And considering this is their map pick as well, this is a difficult way to start it off if you are on this half. But let's have a look. We've got Misfits setting up on that roof, looking ready to burst onto Silo and go for that fast cap play, but it's XP3 on the receiving end with the P2000.
Misfits just playing a bit with the clock, and XP3 removes Devadevic as he was jumping high. Shazam with the D pops the skull as well. That's going to be Toy to try and peek out from lower, though. And Food is here with him. So 3 defenders between the 2 different floors as Rico tries to go back towards the site. He does drop Amanek, so that's the player on site removed. But Sean Gares finds the trade, and a 2v2 remains. Toy, hearing the footsteps, knows that Shaz is ever so close, and up close, that USP could just deal the damage. 2 health remains as Shazam still stands, but Toy finds the first, and Toy finds the second.
And that's the thing, Denial. They won both pistols now, and they're still losing out on this game. They should be able to convert this, considering Misfits didn't get a bomb plant, so we will see a Force then an eco. If they can take this next round, they should be up to an equal scoreline 9-9. But that's just even worrying, showing they've 6 of their 9 rounds granted is just pistol and anti-eco. Even so, there should never be an excuse to lose a map if you pick up 2 pistols and convert both of them. So really in a bit of pressure now for the Denial side. It's Misfits with a bit of utility on Sean Gares. Everyone else is going to be kind of pistol armoured up. As they fast play in towards that side, it's going to be Shazam trying to look for a pick with that Deagle. Nothing will be given. The smoke is down to hold him back, and XP3 is just rattling off shots to bully him back. Does not want to be giving up that FAMAS early on and giving Misfits an avenue into this round. That's something very important on the CT side. If you just give away a pick, give away a gun to those terrorists, they can just easily work off that weapon, that 1 catalyst rifle, and go on a tear.
We saw Denial convert their first pistol victory. Albeit a struggle, they got it done. See if Misfits can puncture their way into either of the bomb sites. We do still have the T side just setting up inside lobby, keeping the ramp honest, thanks to Amanek. Just ensuring, of course, that Denial can't get over aggressive and start setting the pace. And it seems like Denial are content with this. They're just going to want to sit on the bomb sites and wait for the Ts to come in. Now, I'd love to see Sean use this molly properly. Of course, a tactician is he. and we are going to see that bounce into the A bomb site. It does counter the positioning from Flowsick, but he extinguishes the fire. He's able to actually shut down the door as well because of this play. Nicely done by Flowsick, and his teammate finds a third. Shazam, with a breath of life, has found 2 frags, but he is sandwiched, and he is lit, but he's certainly not dead. He's able to grab the headshot with the Deeg. 10 seconds on the clock for the plant to shine through. Can he finish this off, Hugo?
Only going to require 1 bullet, but XP3 will land it first. Takes the kill onto Shazam. And Denial, they will pick it up again, sloppily as ever, as these winning rounds have been, as you mentioned earlier. These clutches coming through for Denial is all that's keeping them into this game. We'll be seeing a 8th round gained here from the C side, but I still can't give too much to it. The fact that Misfits can get that much done with just pistols shows that this is going to be a difficult half for Denial to continue. That being said, this should be a free one. They should be counting their lucky prayers that they close that out, and now just taking it into another clean anti-eco, you'd like to think. Just sick on armor. Actually, Amanek joining him. A bit of utility on Sean Gez, as you would expect. And Misfits in with the pistols. But I don't know. I've been impressed from Misfits mainly, but okay. XP3. Just gonna tap Shazam. But yeah, I've been impressed with Misfits mainly coming into the rifle rounds, but not having as much eco success as Denial has had over on their low investment rounds.
Yeah, it's funny to see that the rounds that Misfits actually struggle the most with are their ecos, understandably, and their anti-ecos, funnily enough. The just straight up gun rounds seem to go their way quite convincingly, so pistols are the problem, no matter who holds them. Misfits to the 4v5 as well. Certainly not a good look for them on this eco round. Flowsick's getting a little bit more aggressive this time, positioning himself to the back of vents. Just looking to play different spots in comparison to the last, which is always good. Keep your opponents on your toes. Don't play predictable CS. And it's nice to see that from Denial. But Food's going to get aggressive over towards ramp here. He actually gets flashed in for the peak. There's 2 targets on the other side. Devidovic first to fall. Sick follows next. But Sean Gares with a response off of the Deeg. Toy with the M4 able to deal a bit of damage, but it will be a frag for XP3 and the cleanup from Toy as well. So 9 apiece is the score. But now we've got some guns.
Indeed, and with 2 bomb plants coming through from Misfits. So, no 2 bomb plants, 1 bomb plant in the previous force buy. Let's go around to pull out that AWP into the first buy, something that Denial have not had the pleasure of doing so far this entire map. Shazam picking that up. Misfits still full rifled, full utility, basically. It's not too much of an issue. But let's see how they can make this one go. Shazam, he fast peeks outside. Flash got him coming through smoke as well to just give him a bit of movement around those boxes. But it's XP3 again defending solo. Been good from these positions in the anti-ecos, but up against the AWP, this could be a bit of a switch up that he is not expecting. Shazam's just holding the angle, waiting for him to go for the fight. And in the meantime, the rest of his team, they should be pushing out here. They should be going for a bit of aggression. Because while Shazam hasn't got the pick, he's covering their angles, allowing them to at least move up a little bit closer, get themselves into better positions. But it seems that they're basing this round very, very strongly off of that first kill. If they can get it, I'm sure they'll just fast play it. But Toy, he's appropriately rotated, found himself in secret. The rest of the Denial just hold on strong. Misfits try and put pressure on other areas of the map, as you can see Amanek doing here.
So the initial setup of this T side was to give Shazam space outer and to allow for him to try and find a pick. He doesn't find anything as we hit the 50-second mark, so now Misfits fall back into the lobby, and I'm sure based on Sean's execution, we'll just try to push into the A site. Goes to show multiple layers here to the offense. They've got their initial setup and their fallback also. So here comes Amanek trying to clear the rafters. We'll be able to find Rico, but it's Flowsick from above. Again, same position, finding frags. XP3 falls into the bomb site as the bomb itself is dropped, but it's Sean Gares with a trade frag. XP3 with another, but that is all he gets. Misfits able to win this round thanks to Sean Gares. He picks up 3 frags on the entry, and his team takes that lead. But it costs them. That's 4 players who need to reinvest, and all of which sit mid $3,000.
Yeah, very lucky he held onto that AWP as well. Without them holding onto that, this would have been just another, rifle and UMP based round. They wouldn't have that AWP to play with. Shazam will take that. Sick. He's limited down to a Tech 9 now. Denial, obviously, after losing out on their first rifle round, after the damage done by Misfits on the ecos, we are going to be seeing pistols in once again here on the CT side. Not too much to really show for themselves. But some aggression outside from Flosic. He's going to be pushed up around the edge of the smoke. I like the angle. He might even catch Shazam for it if he pushes on through. No flashbang to help him, but he does it blind. Takes the kill. Shazam drops, but he doesn't know that Devedevek is pushed just past him. Catches the movement. Will be there to catch him off guard, and Flosic switches weapon. Caught with his pants down. A 4v3 taken for Misfits, and they've already got B-site control to get that bomb plant.
Rico still trying to find the kill. Instead, he takes the death. Devedevek gonna get pressured here by 2. Now here's Toy stepping, so Toy's gonna get red out. And dealt with. Swatted off of the blue box. XP3 watching vents. So the Deagle dealing damage, but he is sitting on 19 health at this point. He's been found out. And this is clearly around for Misfits. Now, would be fantastic for him to still deal a bit more damage. Sick ever so close to death. Might also go down to the bomb if he's not allowed to exit. But then again, it's just the Tech 9. He keeps XP3 busy enough for Amanek to find the frag, and that's now Misfits to another. 2-point leads looking good for them. Denial still coming up empty-handed since the pistol conversions. Very similar to the opening half. Took 3 rounds before they got one back, but Denial have guns early. We'll see if they can manage it here in the 21st.
I mean, this is going to be one of their last opportunities as well. This scoreline's getting increasingly more favourable for Misfits by the second, but at least Denial will start it off right. The spray through the smoke, drops Sean Gares. Amanek does actually manage to wrangle his way down vents, and with the control and the smoke wall from Misfits outside, they can split down towards a secret area. We see 2 players making their way down to regroup with Amanek as he cuts off the rotations from vent, but they don't know that Toy is still in position. He's found himself in this radio room, waiting for that plant to come out. The door does open up. He'll spot them, but Devedevek is quick. He takes the headshot, equalizes it back into a 4-on-4, and now as the bomb goes down, Denial are pulling in the rotations for this retake.
XP3 still posted up with the op, trying to find a man, removing himself from the site, but no one is there. Devedevek gonna get peeked and killed as Shazam finds one off of his own op. Still Rico falling into the vents, and that's where Amanek lies in wait. He takes 2, Shazam with another. Misfits with guns assert themselves.
It doesn't seem like Amanek has slowed down either. After the 3 rounds that Denial won in a row, those 2, well, I guess 3 pistol rounds coming in, Amanek only got 1 kill, but now moving into the next 3 rounds, he's managed to pick up a whole 5, which is actually pretty good considering, you know, they've been able to close out these rounds with ease. Aside from that one clutch situation from Sean, they've not had too much of an issue. So now Denial, again, pistol's going to be coming in through. Misfits up to 13 is going to be expected. And at that point, there's one more buy before we see a potential 15th round game by Misfits. But some aggression on the CT side, it will not go well. Flosic and Toy both caught out, but it's Rico to return fire, but does not expect the split through main. Devedevek finds himself in his back lines, and now 2 remain for the CT side. Food and XP3. Food here's the wrap, and will get himself a gun, but his teammate drops in the meantime, leaving him to clutch.
I like the fact that he's repositioning here, trying to keep the T's off guard. However, Misfits making plays of their own, just had both players down to the B site. They know he was in heaven, so even if he's quickly flanking, they are quicker themselves. Food working his way through the vents. Now he's got 1 player still on site, the other towards decontamination. And Food is yet to make a noise here, so he could catch Sick off guard. Sick jumps mid-firefight. That costs him smoke pluming on the site, and Food is yet to drop. Spotting kneecaps, he takes the frag, outsmarts Sean Gares, and takes 4 frags in the round. That's an individual performance that puts Denial back on the board and does get them into double digits. Excellent 1v2.
That's such a good way to take that final kill, to exploit, you know, Sean Gares' positioning, throwing the smoke to force Sean Gares to move forward, to maybe potentially spray through it and give away his position, and jumping on top of the, you know, silo there to actually get a good peek without fully committing to the engagement. Because if he, you know, was on the same level as Sean Gares, very likely he would have just gotten completely wiped out with a single bullet. But nope, good clutch from Food, keeps the dream alive, and Squawny, again, we're continuing the streak of Denial only winning eco rounds.
It's impressive, but also disappointing at the same time. I'm so conflicted, Hugo.
Yeah, it's upsetting, but like, Misfits should not be throwing away these rounds. That's what you got to say. They really are just over-facing in the anti-eco, thinking, oh, it's fine, they don't have armor, we can win this, and then they're just completely giving up everything they have. It's not only good play from Denial, but a lot of misplaying and overconfidence from Misfits that should not be happening at a scoreline so close.
They had Shazam boosted up on the lower portion of Silo. That's a nice little 3-man boost you can get rolling. Puts your Opper in a bit of an off angle, gives him more space to pick from. But he misses the shot, gives himself away, and Toy goes towards Secret instead. So XP3 not gambling his chances. Toy's able to actually grab the angle to Shaz, so Shazam gets a little too high, and Rico gets aggressive, dropping shot Gares. Flowsick as well just pushes in. And now it's Denial picking up the heat here, taking the fight to Misfits, and finding a 5v2.
How they do it, I will never know. They seem to have done it without losing anyone, and that's so important here. Look at the position from the CT side. They've given up A. They're just holding onto the bomb with 3 players. Now Misfits tasked with 25 seconds left to retake lobby. Easier said than done. Davidovec is going to have to make noise to drop himself down here, so he'll just start running on through, causing a bit of a distraction, maybe allowing Sick to go a bit aggressive here and catch him off guard as well. But the smoke comes through, Davidovec looking to move, and I think at this point they've decided to save. They've opted not to go for this one. With such little time, it does make a lot of sense. Sick catches Toy out, trying to come in through the back lines, but it doesn't matter, because Dinar aren't going to lose another soul. Unless Flowsick overfaces from lobby, he shouldn't go down. Yeah, he'll chase, and that's understandable, but no one else from Dinar should. They need at least 3 players alive coming into the next round, so Flowsick going down does hinder their money a little bit, but they can drop on over. And Denial up to 11 rounds, looking to make this equal.
Can't believe Denial are actually putting up this much of a fight. I mean, they have the advantage of having chosen this map, and of course having won both pistols and then converting everything they could. But I thought that would still be enough for Misfits to close this out quite easily. I mean, you have an individual performance as to what Amanek was giving us earlier. Everybody else here for Misfits, other than Sick, really putting up numbers. Denial really giving them something to work with. But Flow6 found the headshot onto Devidovic. Sean Gares trades thanks to the Tech 9, grabs himself the rifle, and keeps moving towards the B site. Toy's going to be positioned over towards control room, but nobody walks this way. Instead, Misfits redirect through both vent and decontamination. It's going to allow for them to take the site, smoke it off, and probably plant the bomb. Denial to the 4v4 retake.
Sean Gares even going to catch out Toy. He's used that position before, can't afford to do it again as he gets dropped. And now a retake going to be held back substantially. Denial going to make noise coming in through vents, but Food's already on the site once again, looking to pick up Sick. Switches weapon to the grenade, and Sick will take him down. Amanek to drop Rico as he drops in through the vents making noise. And XP3 alone, he'll just get hunted as Sick adds insult to injury, takes him down, and Misfits pick up a 13th round. They actually, not hard reset, but to some regards, with the damage that they did in those 2 lost rounds, they reset Denial. They force them back down to pistols here. As you can see, no real money will be harbored on the CT side, and that's a real issue. Soon as they start to bring back the heat, start to get back into this matchup, they're going to have to go for at least a singular eco here. And actually, I'm quite confused by some of this investment, because if they didn't invest into this round, they could have bought up somewhat next round. But now with this investment, they're only going to have $1,900 coming into their accounts after this one. Players like Rico and Food, without damage or kills done in this round, they're going to have under 4K next time. That will really limit their buy if they want to go for a rifle.
Amanek's about to walk in from heaven as Shazam finds another frag. That's Amanek with a 3rd. So the slight investment from Denial finds absolutely nothing, which, as you pointed out, could be a difference maker here. We'll see what Denial can play off of. They do still have Food at 3.7, 3.3 for Rico. So you're absolutely right. This is going to create a lackluster buy. Even if Rico goes for Kevlar and UMP, which, again, we see quite often, that's going to be no utility for him. There's going to be not a single kit either. Oh, Food picks it up. So, bit of a gamble here from Denial, but they make the buy happen. Is it good enough? It does not include the op, and we saw Shazam take shots in the last. He gets fired out this time, though, and it's Devidovic just barreling into the A site. Sick able to trade thanks to Rico's first frag. Denial 4v4, but still, Denial just run right on in, and that costs them. 2 players trying to punch through the smoke, and instead, they get knocked out themselves. Food on the flank, able to ump down Shazam, but that's still a man advantage for Misfits as the grenades begin to fade.
And yeah, they're running out of time. If they want to go for this, they have to move in fast. It will be caught, but look at the crossfire held from these two players. But oh, the Molotov from Food. He tries to throw it in deep, but instead the door gets shut on his face. Sean Gares adding insult to injury, and Amanek he'll drop Toy, leaving Food to be the last man standing. We've seen a 1v4, but I don't think this one is doable. Takes down Sean Gares, but Amanek, as you would expect, trades. And now, almost rounding up at 40 kills for Amanek. Misfits are going to pick themselves up a 15. One off of the win, and Denial have no money.
This should be GG, except for the fact, Hugo, that, well, most of the rounds for Denial on that first half came off the back of force buys and pistols. So considering they have 2 umps added in with this one, let's just not count them out as of yet. They try to go for a smoke on the outer yard. That's going to allow for the CTs to actually push aggressively forward, or at least it could indicate they do that. But they redirect right away back into the A site. Sick holding the cross allows for Flowsick to jump. But no frags found just as of yet. Grenades every which way. The flashbang does not pan out as Shazam and Sick find 3. And that should be nuke now done for Misfits.
Absolutely crazy so far. I mean, Denial, you could say they're still in this, but we're going to need to see something absolutely huge from one of these 2 players left. Toy will pick up the Deagon to Sean Gares outside, so some damage done. Going to need a lot more to close out this map, and I like how reserved Misfits are playing, still not going too aggressive despite the double man advantage they have into this round. They'll finally split in through A, coming through Hut and Squeaky, all grouped up. The Toy is the last man standing. And I'd like to rally off a little thing about that map as well. If I'm correct, Denial have not won a single rifle-to-rifle round. They have not won a single full buy from both teams. They won 6 rounds from both the pistol and the anti-ecos. That's both conversions as well. They won 3 ecos. They 3 ecos and then a anti-eco, I think is correct. Something along those lines. Ridiculous. They didn't really a single rifle-to-rifle round, which is absolutely insane to think about. Somehow making their way to 11 with such little damage done.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Very weird game there from Denial. Just the rounds they ended up winning are interesting in and of themselves, but it's not enough. Even though they won both pistols and converted for the entirety of the 6 points, they still couldn't find that win. So unfortunately for Denial, things go as expected, I'd argue. The only thing that comes unexpectedly out of that is an incredible performance from Amanek. I mean, he is just shy of the 40 frags, 142 ADR. Hugo, that's almost unbelievable.
Like me in my CEVO games, man. Absolutely nuts. Yeah, I mean, you've got to worry. If Amanek didn't step up that game, how much would have Denial done? Could they have taken the map realistically? It was considerably close. And they were just losing a lot of those rifles, especially on that first half, just because of Amanek. So moving into, the second map, if Amanek doesn't continue the strong performance, there's still a chance for Denial to get some rounds on the board. The issue is it's going to come down to those pistol rounds, and now considering this is Misfits map pick, you'd assume they have a little more of a chance to actually close out those pistols and therefore hold back on the rounds Denial can easily get.
Did Food really have 4 clutches?
Yeah, he had a... Yeah, no, he had a
That's
couple.
incredible. I mean, if you think of not only are 6 of the rounds from Denial from pistols and conversions, but then 7 of them are 1vx situations. Like that's just the slightest of things going your way in the end, and just to keep you alive. Man, what a again, like it's. I want to use the word weird, but that's not really it. It's just kind of what an unexpected amount of rounds from Denial in the fashion they're able to win them. It's pretty incredible. But it's not enough. And going into Train, I now expect less from them. So unfortunately for Denial, I think that this 2-0 sweep is going to happen here, Hugo.
Yeah, I can only imagine so, really.
All right, well, Train's up next, boys and girls, so don't go too far. It's Misfits versus Denial, and we will have a short break in between. So we'll see you in just a moment's notice. Here's a word from our sponsors.
It's calling it's calling
All right, we are back. Map number 2 is about to go underway, and of course this is Misfits versus Denial Esports. I am Scrawny, this is Hugo, and we are ready for map number 2. How are you feeling after the first here, Hugo? What do you think their chances are?
Even less confident that they can get anything done after reading the in-game chat after the last 5-10 minutes. It seems like Denial are waiting on Dapper to rejoin them in replacement of Food, but he's had his issues getting home, traffic or something, so he's not going to be coming back. We have Food playing again, but to be honest, I've never seen Dapper play. You say he's nutty, but after the way that Food performed in the previous one, I'm excited to see how he continues this. They're going to be on the CT side of Train, the map pick of Misfits. They pull in the full armor for the first round, and Misfits, they've gone for a little more utility, clearly a set piece, and with that Molotov in, it's likely going to be towards B.
Nice flashbang here from Misfits. A lot of presence, though, from the defense. 3 players here, and that allows for the trade from XP3. Immediately, we start to see Misfits disengage from the B bomb site. Amanek chucks his smoke out towards the A site. Misfits gonna try to close this in. Now, Flow6 on the other side of this smoke. He tries to creep through, but that costs him. Devaduvic popping his head and ensuring the plant for Misfits. 3 versus 4 retake is what's on the table. Rico trying to shift his attention back towards Ivy side, clearing out the flank before pushing on in.
Oh, XP3 though, caught out on the boost. That could have been the one shot to get back into the round. Food will pick up a headshot in the meantime, but his teammate falls on Ivy, so that leaves him stuck alone. Another clutch situation for Food, and while he has been doing fairly well, I don't see this one as a realistic option. No kit across any of the players, and Amanek will shut him down without any more kills. It's Misfits to open up with the first round of the map. I can only imagine that that trend is going to continue.
Yeah, we saw him lose both pistols on Nuke, so this is a welcomed change as far as Misfits are concerned. But Denial have a present in store. 4 frags bought up into this one. Smoke Kevlar 5-7 for Food. So big old buy, keeping 2 players at 1.2. Frag grenades come sailing over and do near 0 damage. Sick gets tagged down to 50, but in the process he finds the headshot to Toy. So that's certainly an opening that Misfits will take with open arms. Shazam as well from afar, going to start to dwindle down their health bars, but pops the molly over between the train lanes, and that's going to keep the CTs above. They try to push up aggressively to use the pistol, but by now Misfits have taken the B site, and they have certainly taken this round.
Yeah, not expecting Denial to really be getting too much damage done, but not even a kill yet on the CT side, and that's quite a surprise. This is one of the maps you would expect to see maybe some pistol damage coming through. While it is a long-range one, you can get very aggressive as a CT, get yourself in areas like Pop Dog, push up through Ivy as XP3 is doing now, and so you typically see eco rounds actually get a couple of picks on with Denial, from the CT side, but Denial not having any success. Misfits seem to be closing out this one without a single loss. And XP3 waiting for exits outside of A. It doesn't seem like they'll be pushing towards that position post-round anyway, so I don't think he'll get too much out of this one. Will just be the clean 2-0 for Misfits. And this is something that we talked a little bit about in the previous map. Denial got 11 rounds, but a lot of that was not only off of the back of eco wins, but also off the back of the 2 pistol rounds and conversions that they successfully did. They got 6 rounds out of that. So now that they've already given up the first pistol round, especially on the CT side, I'm getting quite worried on how this scoreline is going to be teetering in favour of Misfits.
But first you don't succeed, try again. More frag grenades bought up here from Denial, so I can only assume that they're going to chuck those at T-Con yet again, and this time they do less damage. Misfits just not falling into that trap, instead just buying a couple moments notice before trying to find some frags, and they have already with Devaduvic finding 2. That's beautiful back-to-back headshots. Toy still stuck behind the E-box, but he's going to get dealt with quite swiftly. Flowsick XP3 trying to lock things out. At least 1 frag here from Denial, and Flowsick takes another, so somewhat of a defense, but again, it is just Misfits asserting themselves with weaponry. The 3-0 start swings the other way, and it's Misfits T-side train that kicks it off.
But already the up coming through for Denial, and this is something they didn't pick up at all in the previous map, so interested to see how XP3 gets done with this. Up against York Shazam, that has been popping off very well lately, especially in the minor. Oh wait, Denial are going to be in a bit of an awkward spot to fight back now. Shazam just going to be holding the outside of main. The smokes do rain over that A site, looking like they may want to commit, but a bit of aggression here from the CT side potentially is just a solo player on B. Denial have rotated everyone back towards that A side of the map. They will be double guessing as Toy moves back into the connector to sit himself in the support of Food. The AWP of XP3 posted, but the smoke is down, and I'm interested to see Misfits going for this full smoke take, but not committing a single player with it. They haven't pushed up at all, despite the options of doing so. And that's actually baited out all of the utility of Denial. Just a smoke and an HE left on this CT side. But Misfits still have a plentiful amount in terms of Molotovs. This could be quite dangerous now for the CT side.
Very patient play from Misfits, but they've smoked off the middle lane. Flashbang up and over, but this does still allow for XP3 to try and find the pick. Shazam, meanwhile, in between shots, gets himself to position, reads the defense, and will find the opening frag. As Flowsick trades one, Deviduvic's there with yet again another, so that's going to give them the man advantage in the A site for sure. Toy still boosted up, trying to find an angle, but it's Deviduvic with another, and Shazam as well, doubling down into the round and finding himself a third. That is a full house between Shazam and Deviduvic, 3 and 2 apiece. Again, just gun round after gun round go the way of Misfits.
Seems like we have a different French player stepping up this map. Deviduvic, top of the board already, 8-1. We are going to have a timeout used, or I deny. One of the players has dropped. Food is disconnected. Not sure whether they're going to be swapping him out for, Dapper, or whether he's just restarting his game for a technical. I could imagine it's probably the latter. Yeah, just waiting for him to come back on. And, of course, another eco coming in for Denial, so it should just be a clean 5-0 for Misfits. And on the T side as well, that's very, very dangerous. That's a great start if Misfits can actually convert these, or this next round. It's really dangerous, considering this is their map pick, that they've already got such a dominant T side.
If they just played the pistol conversions, the first gun round, gave that chance to Food, and then said, screw it, you're cut, that'd be one thing. Who is this guy? It is... Oh my god, they actually did it.
They swapped him mid-game? That's ballsy.
Dapper has arrived, and he's ready to play.
I don't know what to think about that. That's going to be so awkward for Food. Like, he's just playing 4 rounds in. Misfits suddenly like, Food, get out of the team speak. Banned from the server. Kicked out. Replaced. Jesus Christ. Well, let's hope he's going to be a bit of a resurgence for Denial. A chance for them to get back into this matchup, or at least a series after dropping already the first map over on Nuke. Their choice. Let's see if Noob Shooter 5 can replace the hole that Food was filling.
Let's also hope he changes that name.
Yeah.
Let's get him on that. We'll see. He's welcomed into what is a pistol round, so not a warm welcoming, but one nonetheless. He tries to get aggressive towards the blue train. That's where Sean Garris is just sitting underneath, so his head has been spotted, but it's not yet been popped. He just tries to jiggle peek it, and he actually comes out with the kill here thanks to the P250. Shazam gets dinked, so he could be next, and he is. Dapper finding 2 frags before Amanek responds. XP3, all that remains, and while he does deal damage, he's also dead. Misfits find that 5-0 start they'd hoped for.
And this is the only issue. Good old Noob Shooter's money is going to be fairly limited. Obviously, he joined, and he doesn't start off with all the loss bonus that they've been racking up on the Denial side, so he's only got an M4 and armor. No utility alongside that other than just a single smoke. So held back to some extent, but let's hope that doesn't affect this one too much. He's playing solo towards B as well, so actually, you'd feel like you tend someone with a little more utility towards this side of the map if he's playing alone, but it's going to be the fast play on A that Misfits pull out. XP3 with the AWP will finally strike, and he gets himself the first kill of the round, dropping Deviduvic and actually doubling down as well. Shazam, though, he's rotated in with the AWP, going to try and pick up the pieces of this already fallen round, but it seems like he will drop as well, as XP3 with the AWP gets damage done, and the rotation from Dapper will clean up sick.
Now that round right there was just incredibly fast. I mean, you compare that to the pace that Misfits were setting in their previous rounds, and it is a completely different T side. So they try it. They try and pick up the pace and do something different just to keep their T side one step ahead, and in the end, it costs them. Simultaneous duels are lost across the map, and ultimately Denial just walk away with a pretty free round. Very little reinvestment, barring utility, but it's a double op setup from Denial in this one, and Misfits gearing up towards Ivy.
D3 just posted on this position. 3k in the previous round, looking to complete this again. They do know he's there, so utility is going to be a must for Misfits if they want to get themselves out of this position. If they manage to pick up this round, they can reset the economy of Denial and be back up into this matchup with a huge victory. XP3 sits in wait, lies there, waiting for Shazam. Just holding the angle with his own AWP, but no commitment will be coming through for XP3 for the meantime. He knows of the potential. He knows Misfits are going to have money after 5 in a row. He knows there's going to be a likely AWP, and if they're going to place it somewhere, probably Ivy is going to be their decision. But the aggression from Flowsick. Flash goes into main. He pushes in through with it. There's no one there for Misfits, so they know exactly what's going on. They know Flow6 in this position, so when Sick pushes back in, he needs to have the flash of a teammate. Sean needs to pop him in there, but they've only got one flash on Sick himself. It will be used, and now Flow6 turns around. Quick reaction from him, takes the man advantage.
Good read there, Hugo. You saw that play coming, and Flow6 seemed to as well. He just gets up the ladder, casually 180s back to the head of Sick, and despite the team-based push into the T-Con, it just doesn't work out. So Toy's going to be committed to the far angle here, and he spots the barrel of Shazam. He's actually allowed to cross back for free, despite the teammates being there. And as he arrives back down below, Toy will find another frag. That's Sean down for the count. Ooh. XP3 with the saving grace leaves it to Devaduvic, and he too dealt with. So excellently done there by Denial. Look at their health though, Hugo. That's 3 players in the mid-teens as far as HP is concerned. All those guys move forward, and that's going to start to build the bank for Denial. So you always, you're always so scared on the CT sides of Train when finally a round is won that it comes in the form of like a straggle by, and that then of course the rifles aren't there. But with all these players staying alive from Denial in 2 consecutive rounds, they get a very real chance at bouncing this back. Certainly a 5-0 start is great, but this is not too far gone for Denial to make something of their defense.
Build this double open play, and XP3 once again posted. Are they going to commit to IV though this time? That's the question we were wondering, because last time they set up here but they didn't do anything with it. We are going to have Devaduvic just trying to spot around the edge of the smoke, but with no AWP presence here, they're going to definitely need that utility. Pick potential will be lowered. Misfits playing very slow, very calculated on this T side, not wanting to rush in anywhere too early. But as I say that, Sean starts to take said Ivy control. XP3 on the other side, but Sean turns off just as he gets peeked. Timing goes array. And with Devaduvic getting mollied off, he can't even trade this one. As XP3 sits in the back lines giggling away, and Shazam looking to try and make something happen on the A site. They're attempting to split, but it's pretty off. There's only Devaduvic really out on the site. No one else has even made their way outside of Hot Dog or Main at all. Flow6 going to deny the first push from Sick, but Devaduvic finally in the back lines gets it done, and he gets 2 as well. Toy gets dropped, and this is Denial now in a 2-on-3.
Misfits fighting their way back into this. They're going to get a chance at the plant. Ivy is open, so Shazam is clear. That's going to be Dapper trying to nip at his heels, possibly spotting the man underneath. Molotov comes over, but that's not going to do anything at this point. Shazam's looking for an avenue of escape as XP3 is rotated towards Ivy. He's got a pistol in hand, and he jumps to the cover. Shaz as well gets a little more close. Both players for Denial coming through, and that's the first man down. Dapper with a 1v2 as he smokes off the bomb, tries to bait the shot, but instead he takes it to the chest. And Dapper cannot come up with the clutch. It is Denial to stay at 2, and Misfits to move to 6.
Shazam's so quick, man. He's so good at this AWPing.
I love his movement. I find he's a very flashy player when it comes to that op style. And that's the kind of opping that I like to watch just because it makes for these exciting clips. It makes for these unpredictable peaks and clearly a bit of success.
Yeah, not a one-trick pony at all now. Misfits 6-2. They shut down the 2 rounds picked up by Denial, but luckily not enough damage was done by the Misfits in those rounds to stop Denial from investing into this. It's going to be a little limited in utility, but we've got that AWP back on XP3, and he's been making waves with it. Rifles across the board aside from a singular UMP on Flowsick, and that allows a Molotov as well. A full set of utility from this Denial player. Misfits, again, taking this slow T side, not getting aggressive at all. They've got the bomb centered in B hall, so maybe a bit of a late round B play after all. Other than that, going to be fairly slow from Misfits, not wanting to let themselves get picked, just looking for some aggression on the CT side. And with these kind of buys from Denial, a little bit weaker and utility held back, this is the kind of round you expect aggression from the CT side. Flash yourself into main, take that B up in control, try and get yourself a pick. And Misfits are aware of that as they wait for this push to come through.
CT's pushed forward though on the opposite side, so that allows for 2 quick frags, make it 3. The CTs holding their own here as Denial hold on to the entry, but Amanek finding 3 frags of his own could turn this on its head. He is just down to the 1v2. He has some utility and near a 4th frag, but the opping of XP3 will prevail. He gets himself positioned high and takes that last frag. So Denial locking it out, and that's a hard reset versus Misfits. Leaves them with some cash, but certainly not enough. And I think that one of the keys to that success there, Hugo, was having your players pushed on the opposite side of the wall of smokes. The T side's not blocking off their vision, but rather enforcing that they stay there. They can't retreat back, they have to hold the ground, and they do.
No, actually doing a little more damage than I expected coming into this matchup. We are going to have pistols again from Misfits. But again, they are up on 6 rounds on this T side, which is already dominant. If they lose every single one here, they still can't be too upset because 6 is enough to get the job done moving into that second half. But it's a pistol round here, they're just running into the site, and this is where they just get mopped up. Toy and Dapper not having an issue at all, and Dapper will round that round out with a quad kill, making up the money. Or Denial. He's up to 9 rounds here. That's the funniest part as well. He hasn't even been here the whole game and he's still top fragging for the team.
Told you.
You're nuts.
Yeah, no, Dapper, I mean, so far this season, under Denial's wing, he's been playing statistically incredibly well. So he's in a bit of a streak right now, which is always nice to see. Of course, he did play on Prospects GG in the last season of Premier. Before that, he played for a season of Main, kind of bouncing between Premier and Main until these most recent 2, where he's really coming into form and making something of himself. This gun round will include a clash towards Ivy. Flowsick, if you're going to play that corner, don't do it with the A1S, because clearly the barrel sticks around. I mean, Sean knows exactly where he is, and luckily for Flowsick, the smoke allows his retreat, but let that be a lesson, friends. Sometimes your gun will give you away.
Misfits reconvene once again. B is the choice, it seems. With a low HP player, this is probably going to be one of the better options, but they need to use their utility to disallow XP3 from getting that pick. Amanek moves towards upper, and if he just dry peeks here, he could just get shot down straight away at the first hurdle. We're going to have fast rotations from players like Toy. He's quick in the drop down, but other than that, not a lot of hope for Denial if they don't manage to get themselves a couple of picks before Misfits take control, because they can just get aggressive on the CT side, and they will. C side, sorry. Amanek throws in the nade, drops XP3 with that AWP, and now the rest of Denial, who are all forced out of the site, don't have a lot of utility to regroup. We've got this aggressive post swamp from Misfits, pushed up as you would expect, and they are just doing the damage as Amanek fires into the smoke.
Sean with forward positioning as well, though. He catches Dapper. To his left is the man in the smoke. That's Flowsick with 1. Rico simultaneously gets himself another. And so there was a retake on the cards. You can see them contemplating this commitment here. But now they've lost their time. So a bit of ambiguity from Denial. Means they have yet to fully retreat. And as they exit, no further frags will be found from either side. Misfits going to move it to 7. Denial stay towards 4. This is just 2 rounds to the CTs, 1 back by the terrorists, and we will see if they can convert. Now, of course, the cash for Misfits will be sitting fine and dandy. The CT side, not so much. It's going to be a struggle. It will be lackluster, and while it will come up with mostly of everything they could want, it's going to bottom out all the money here, Hugo. So little cash left over. A lot on the line.
Seems like maybe a fast B player's in order. A bit of a charge here from Misfits. Switch up the pace. They've not done anything like this for a few rounds, and they haven't, especially on that B site. Dapper does not expect it. He gets overrun. Sick takes out entry, and they just take full control of this B site. The success in the previous one obviously prompting this to happen again, and this one is absolutely no comeback from Denial. They are forced out of the site through and through. I don't expect a retake here in this kind of position. Shazam gets spotted with that AK. He's playing close, but Amanek is supporting and continuing his reign of terror from the previous map as he finds 2 heads. XP3 with the AWP will pick up 1, and that's just rotation frags, catching out Misfits coming in through the back lines. So I still don't think a doable retake is on the cards here. But Misfits, what a way to spice up their performance by just charging into that B site.
Yeah, again, we saw that happen in the 6th round of this T side from Misfits, where they had already successfully executed into the A site off of the wall of smokes. We had seen them go for it slowly, but then for whatever reason in that round they try to pick up the pace, charge in, and clear the defense, only to get shut out. So we have seen Misfits attempt and also fail in their changing of the pace, their kind of, you know, tempo setting. This time it works out because they catch Dapper completely off guard. He's the only line of defense at the B site. There was no rotation even nearby for Denial. They very much seem to opt towards the A site early on, and it costs them. So nice to see Misfits now kind of finding success with that rapid play and not just getting locked down. However, it is going to be only pistols for Denial, so this should not be a round that Misfits lose, although we've seen them here before.
Yeah, I wouldn't hold your breath on that one. I'm expecting a chance of Denial, as we have seen them do very well in these ecos over on Nuke, but let's see how they can continue this. Sean Gares round in the corner, finally picks up his second kill on the map, takes down Rico. Sick will support, and this is how Sean Gares is pulling back his ADR. He's pulling back his stats by just getting these anti-eco kills. Him and Shazam tagged in the process. The Toy and Dapper are going to be the last two standing here for the Denial side. We have Misfits, luckily having these two French players on the roster, because Devek and Amanek are tearing up this map. Just Dapper standing solo. Going to be seeing a ninth round on the board before the final 1.5.
Honestly, Sean Gares is going to look like a genius in the eyes of Misfits. If you think of his inclusion to the organization coming off of the loss from TSM, and then he decides to bring in two French players that he has admittedly found through HLTV.
So funny.
What are you doing, Dapper? Just dying. Okay. Could have kept the P250, decides not to. Point being, of course, that he brings them in, and look at the success they've been able to find. I mean, you could actually break down a lot of Misfits' success from the individual play of the Frenchmen. Amanek and Devek have incredible stats on the LAN showings when they have the core of this team, the one that has Shazam, Sick, and Sean Gares. I'm not talking about their run at the minor or those kinds of one-offs. I'm talking about these 5 players. It is the two Frenchmen who generally put up heavy impact, and it is so nice to watch. Refreshing, Hugo.
Yeah.
Have another contender in NA.
And it's a surprise as well, just quickly, because Sick is one of the players that a lot of people expected to be one of the hard fraggers of this team, but he's been very quiet this year. So to see other people take his role of the damage doers is great. But speak of him, and he will show as he finds 2 kills entering onto that A site. A line up for Toy, but he won't get 2 as Amanek trades, and Sean Gares drops XP3, meaning it's just a solo player. Dapper again, he's got to show up. He's got to clutch this round because it is going to be one of the last chances to now have to get back into this matchup. Bomb faked. Dapper wrapping around the corner. 6 spots him though, and okay, no, maybe not, because no one's watching his position, but 6 around the corner, and he will find himself 3 kills that round. Just as I say, he's been having a bit of a slow performance this year. He really shows me wrong. 10 rounds fouled from the North American side. Denial, now with just pistols and UMPs, I can only expect.
We started this half off with 5 consecutive rounds. Look like Denial were going to give us a bit of a fight here in the middle of it, seeing as they hard reset Misfits and found 4 of the middle 5. But now that we're in the last 5 rounds, Hugo, it seems like things have turned back around. So, slow start, slow finish. Misfits asserting themselves most certainly. Toy clears out the T-Con though. Bit of map control here for Denial. Currently, Pop Dog smoked off. And nobody inside. Misfits with a passive setup in the final round of the half.
They're playing this right. They're not going for this fast charge play, because up against pistols it can be so dangerous just to play these close angles. If you charge into B, it's very likely you can catch an M4 player off guard, but when a player has a CZ or a 5.7, they can just spam away, get that one-shot potential. It can be very, very dangerous for Misfits, but this time a bit slower. It looks like it's going to be some kind of A play, especially with the setups of these T's here. Just outside of the halls, a bomb ready to go into Pop Dog, but with the bomb's positioning, I mean, in theory, if they change their mind, they can just fast play B at any point in the round. They don't have to commit to the A site, it seems. And now the smokes are going to start to rain in, the flashes as well. Amanek and Devil get caught out in lower as Toy and Flowsick start to kick things off. The CT side doing work with the pistols as they have done previously. 6 trades, and that brings it into a 2-on-2. And with no weapon standing on Denial, Misfits are in for a great shot.
Rico just needs to deny this bomb plant. That'll give time for Dapper to swing out from the bottom of ladder. Shaz gets spotted, revealed, tagged, killed. Sick as well will go down, and that's denial on 5. So, out of nowhere, with only the pistols and the umps, they actually make the 15th round happen. Big credit there to Dapper's flank. It's just timing that works out for his favor, and he's able to not only deny the plant, but also kill both players. So, that gives us something to work with here for on Denial's T side. But, I mean, CT-sided train, first of all, and a pistol round that is going to have a heavy impact on the chances of Denial's comeback.
I mean, yeah, even with Dapper coming back into this match, I still didn't expect this one to go to Denial at all. After the performance on Nuke, bit shoddy from them, I didn't think they were going to be picking up the opposing team's map pick in any stretch of the imagination. But, I mean, they've done well enough, I guess you can say, on that first half. Again, the issue is, as you say, the CT side. This is a very CT-sided map. So seeing now Denial move over to the harder side with only 5 rounds, it's probably going to be difficult for them to get much done. But assuming they can pick up the pistol, which they had, 100% success in over on Nuke, there's always an option. There's always a chance they can pull something back. You never want to count them out completely. It's just going to require a bit of a streak.
I mean, one of the pluses that we can talk about here for Denial is that they were actually able to win gun rounds. And I don't mean that I don't mean that in BM, although it kind of sounds that way.
Toxic.
They lose their pistol on that half, and then the conversion points, which is something they had going for them on Nuke. Even though it then didn't translate to much other. This time around, they still get 5 points on the board despite not getting that opening 3 rounds. So that's a bit of a silver lining. And again, because of its actual gun versus gun rounds that they can win, I'm impressed by that. It's no longer just flukes and flubs, but rather some impressive CS. Although, not an abundance of it. Just the occasional, gleaming success. And that counts for something. I mean, we have to take into consideration that we have a Pro League team versus a Premier League team. A North American contender versus an international lineup. Let's be real. Denial were coming in on the back foot, and they've at least given us a bit of a show and something to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, we said before the matchup there, fighting this matchup in, against one of the best teams in this whole event. So already starting on the back foot, but let's see if they can at least pick up the rounds. Moving on to the second half of this map, Flowsick on the utility, Armor on everyone else, and he'll just be sitting towards Ivy. So expecting an A side take, some smokes going in there through, and maybe Denial dropping in through this ladder room to try and take their control on A. Easier said than done, but they try and regain main control where Sick is aggressively pushing, and Toy just goes straight down. He gets the information as well, spots 2 more players, knows that it's an A setup, and Misfits, I mean, they've already got 4 players here, so no need to rotate.
Sick falls further back, spots the crossing Flowsick, but then Flowsick disappears. Amanek, however, that was an easy shot to Dapper. Pops his noggin, drops the bomb. Rico's next in line. Could be another clean one if he hits it, and he will. So a 5 versus 2 now for Misfits. The individual duels not working out here for Denial, and this leaves them on a deflated execution with a maximum of 2 players pushing in. It's going to be supported here from Sean Gares as well, so a clash in the Brown Halls should seal it out, but XP3's found 2 frags, and Amanek knows better. He's just going to fall back ever so cautiously, dropping the bomb yet again. Nice 3-piece from him thus far, and the 4th one is found. All headshots, makes it look easy as Misfits take the pistol.
Just continuing that performance we saw over on Nuke. Was 40 frags in that first map, and he's having no issue doing, well, a very similar story here. But I mean, everyone on Misfits, or at least the three main fragging core, are stepping up. Amanek, Devaduvek, and Sick, all 13 kills plus. Now, with Misfits picking up the pistol round, I think that's most of the hope from Denial to actually mount a comeback gun. They've got a buy to deal with in 2 rounds' time, but with no bomb plant, it's got to be the eco coming in. The thing is, though, they don't invest much into this, so it makes me wonder, are they going to go for an early investment, try and spice things up? It's very rare you see this done, but it's a possibility. The thing is, you don't really see full saves on the second round with just P250s on that T side, because it's just you wait for the rifle round, you wait for the buy, and this is one of those rounds you can throw away. You don't need to don't need to just eco this one up. You can invest, eco the third, and still have enough to buy full rifles coming into the fourth round of the half. But let's see what they make do with this. If they can get a bomb plant, that would be perfect for them buying up in the third round of the half. And they are going to charge B, but Amanek is ready and waiting. 2 for him. Rico trades, but Sean Gaz is still in close proximity.
Sean able to grab the one frag, but not the bomb carrier, not in time. He thinks there's still someone alive there for a moment before sticking the defuse, but because he was held up for just that moment longer, it is the plant here from Denial. Again, silver lining for them to really try to play off of. It leaves them in a position to maybe try to work this by. We shall see if they can put it up here.
They surely got to buy. That's the reason they were going towards B with those pistols. There's no reason to eco second round. On CT, it makes sense, because maybe you want to bring in the double AWP, or maybe you want to get a bit more utility and full kits. Fair play. But on the T side, if you force second round, assuming you lose a pistol, you force second round, you lose that, you full eco, then you buy, you still have enough for 4,200. In a sense, almost a full buy without a single kill. So there's no reason to do it. So yeah, the buy comes through. They try and fast play to catch off Misfits, but they are expecting it. Sean Gez will come in from the flank, shuts down Dapper, and XB3, he's trying to bring this back into a 3-on-3.
Nice pick from Seek. Sick. Comes off of the unexpected side of the doorway. Man from above will be Shazam. And he slams Rico out of the round, leaving it just a toy. 1v3. Flash at his feet. Players in his face. And bullets around him. Molotov as well to kind of convince him otherwise. Now, there are certain schools of thought within Counter-Strike, Hugo, and some would advocate for that early buy, but this is one of the reasons I don't actually like it. It was very clear that Misfits read into it and expected that round 3 buy. It is no longer kind of an off decision, but for a while it became the meta. And I'm more of an advocate of proper full gun rounds with nice amounts of execution utility, especially on a map like Train, where you're going to need to section off players like Amanek and players like Shazam when you want to use the Molotov to burn out the close corners versus your anti-ecos. There's such great value from grenade usage, and generally that round 3 buy will cut it from underneath you. Sure, you would have had to give Misfits the 13th round and come into this one with a purchase, but look what it leaves them on. Just a couple of upgraded pistols, the double flashbang, some Kevlar, and a clear advantage to the CT side, who are now already 1 round closer to winning.
See if this deagle can have any effect though. Toy posted on Ivy. The deep smoke does deny everything really attempted here from the T side, and Devildevek Pass is holding this solo, but with York in close proximity for a rotation for Shazam to try and support him with that rifle. Denial looking to burst, but with no smoke here from this position, they are going to have a bit of a difficulty if they want to commit. Flashes are all they can use, and they will throw them out, but Shazam plays the counter. He peeks in aggressively, looking for more, and he'll land it. Absolutely no issue up against pistols. 2 kills for him, looking for more, and he gets attacked through the smoke. But it doesn't really matter at this point. They should just be getting mowed down. There's no reason for them to get any kills. XP3 will land 1, and Rico as well takes a single kill. They'll double down, but at this point, I'm not worried that they're going to pick up the round. Misfits should close it, but it just shows how sloppy they are over on the CT side. I mean, they're just playing for the frags, fair enough, but they let 3 of them fall to nothing from Denial. A bit unnecessary if you ask me, but they have got the round lead to do.
All too often, when it comes to both NA and Premier CS, is just the old hogwash kind of play that we just saw from Misfits. They're just spraying through the smoke. They know the entirety of Denial are there, and then we look how many players get caught out with empty primary weapons and just sidearms in hand. Sure, those are avoidable frags, but it's because they're just playing to seal this out. They have arguably no respect left for Denial. They realize what they've done. They realize they've won this game, and that it's just a matter of time. So it does cost them, and I would actually like to now see Denial come back a bit. If Misfits make more mistakes like that, where they're just getting so kill hungry, then they deserve to kind of give up more and allow for Denial to come back slightly. But I don't think that's going to be the case. Realistically, Misfits have this sealed. The ops from Shazam has just been so on point versus both pistols and rifles here. The understanding of the rotations between the bomb sites on the CT from Misfits has been perfect. And Denial's offense just lackluster. So I think we're done here. But we will have the execution into the B site. That's Dapper removed immediately by Amanek, who doubles down to the next tier. T-side trying their damnedest to entry, but Amanek says no. 4 frags for him, Hugo, and he's not even pushed off the angle.
Simple stuff here. To be honest, I mean, without picking up the pistols here for Denial, I wasn't really expecting them to actually get too much done, and this just shows exactly what we expected here. I mean, technically, this is the same amount of rounds they would have gotten in the previous map if they didn't pick up both pistols. They took 11, but 6 of those were pistols and conversions. So, I mean, minus that from 11, you get 5. This is exactly what you'd expect, right? Shazam, Devidevek opening up. It's actually Shazam to double down through the blindness of the flashbang and Sick to finish off the last player. It's Misfits to close out the map in a hugely dominant fashion and win that series 2-0, knocking Denial.
Fair enough to say Pro versus Premier League Counter-Strike. Not so much on Nuke, where we got to see Denial maybe play their game, considering it was their pick, but once we move into Train, that was a convincing victory from Misfits. Arguably as expected, as the series drops 2-0, and we have our first elimination from the tournament.
Yeah, great stuff. I mean, not really too much to add to that. Obviously, I'd say most people would kind of expect that outcome, but either way, that's that match done. We're going to have Optic versus CLG Academy coming up next. I think that'll be a very interesting matchup. I think I'll be covering that with Seaside.
Yeah, I'm gone.
Yeah, thank God. Just get rid of you. And yeah, so definitely a far better matchup now that Scrawny's going to be removed from the equation there. But that should be an interesting game. I'm sure you'll be watching it on the edge of your seat, won't you, Connor?
I most certainly will be. It's going to be a real toss-up between those two lineups, I'd say.
I don't know if I agree, but maybe I'm not as educated on CLG Academy. But
no, I'm just being really sarcastic.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, I've never seen them play, so this is a a nice experience for me. Either way, I think that's all we have to say. Do you have any final words before we head to a break?
I just want to re-support Denial in their success so far within the Premier Division of ESEA. Even though this is going to be a hard-hitting loss versus Misfits, it's something that could have been expected. So I hope that they continue to progress. I hope that Dapper can continue his form. Amongst players of his caliber, he is still a shining star, and I don't want this hard loss to kind of chew away at that. They started off with a 3-1 record, and they do look promising moving forward. Don't write off Denial within North America, but don't expect them to win versus Misfits.
Gordon's the biggest fan ever. He's got the t-shirt. He's fully dressed in the gear right now, and I'm sure he'll be cheering for them on the sidelines. But either way, we're going to be jumping to a break, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be back with Optic versus CLG Academy in about 35-minute time if everything goes well. So we will see you very shortly. Don't go anywhere.